Fire and Rage Warrior was already tier 1 before the mini set, and I promise you, it's definitely tier 1 after the mini set. I played a variety of decks yesterday, some working very well, some working not so well, but I'm going to show you guys not only the Fire and Rage Warrior deck list, but I'm going to show you the other decks that I was experimenting yesterday to kind of give you an idea of what I thought was going to be pretty decent on day one. So if you like this kind of content, feel free to like this video and subscribe to the YouTube channel in order to tell me that, hey yo man, we like Warrior good, Warrior really insane, and honestly this list hasn't changed a whole lot from the mini set. There's just one new card in it, but Jam Session is the absolute perfect card for what Fire and Rage Warrior is trying to do. Now whether or not this is going to be the perfect 30 card list, that is definitely up for debate, but this is my take on a Fire and Rage Warrior, which is simply this deck is literally just this exact deck, but replaced Jam Session with Blazing Power. This is what I was playing before the mini set, and honestly, there might be some reason to still run this card because you can easily give a minion +8/+8 as essentially 2 damage deal 8 if you already have a minion that can attack. So there is potential for this card to be like a really good high roll, but the reason why I replaced it with Jam Session is because Jam Session is a guaranteed +3/+3 as well as a combo enabler by itself, to where you don't need to have the Sun Fury champion already in hand. You don't need to have the Pyromancer. And there are some people that are just straight up saying we don't even need Pyromancer anymore, but I just like the potential of what this card can do. So I think as a one-of, it just makes a lot of sense since you can consistently draw out your minions, so it just makes a lot of sense to me to at least run one of these cards. Because Jam Session is a card that you can run a couple of different ways. You can either use it as, like a +3/+3, like say you play Anima on turn 2, it doesn't die, and then you immediately buff it up +3/+3. That's a really big deal, and then suddenly this minion becomes a legitimate threat that your opponent is not going to want to have to deal with, but eventually will, because as long as this card stays on the field, the more value that you get out of it. But this deck is pretty much doing the exact same thing that Fire and Rage Warrior was doing, but some of you guys had some questions about how exactly to play this deck, as well as how to mulligan with it. And I will be straight up, the mulligan of this deck is actually very difficult because it's not the same every single time. Originally, my suggestions was you always keep Anima Extractor, Instrument Tech, Imbued Axe, Thori Balor, and originally I said to keep Bridge Rift, but I'm gonna step back a little bit on this and say that if you want to focus more on getting your early game curve, but if you're going up against a slower deck, or if you have coin, then having Bridge Rift on the keep can make a lot of sense, so that way you just play it as soon as possible, and then you finale and then get a bunch of value out of it. But it really depends on the kind of matchup that you're going up against. Like case in point, in the Warrior Mirror, you do not want to keep the Bridge Rift. You just want to try and find the weapon and get onto the board before your opponent does, or get your Anima Extractor value before your opponent does. And there are some people that just straight up play Anima Extractor as early as possible in the Warrior Mirror, because if you play this and happen to stick it, and then, you buff it a whole bunch, the enemy Warrior player is going to have to throw a bunch of resources to knock this out themselves. So that's just like one example on how the mulligan can kind of change depending on matchups. But I would say that like one of the best combinations of cards to keep is if you have weapon, and you can find Sun Fury Champion and Embers of Strength. This is a very powerful combo to where if you play this on 3, do this on 4, you've already got a massive board. And against a lot of aggro decks, this is like a really big swing, because not only are you damaging your board, but you're summoning a bigger board, and then they have to suddenly play defensively. And then you can maybe keep the value going if you want to keep getting, an Imbued Axe value by swinging every single turn. But regardless, I think that Enrage Warrior has a ton of potential, and if you can master the mulligan of this deck, then you can definitely master the ladder. Fire and Rage Warrior was definitely the most successful deck that I played yesterday, but it wasn't the only deck that I played. And if you guys have any more questions about Warrior, feel free to leave them down in the comments below, because I would rather answer individual questions than try to like knock out every single, thing that you can do with this deck, because there's a lot of complicated things with this deck. So feel free to, post a question down below and I will get to you. But the other decks that I was playing, I played Cagehead OTK, Frosty K, and Big Paladin. And honestly, I'll just tell you right now, Big Paladin didn't do so well. But Jamming Rifts, same exact deck. This is the most successful deck that I played yesterday. Now, Funky Monkey came up with a really interesting deck that is either going to come out later today or tomorrow, because I'm definitely posting a video on this deck. But Cagehead OTK, very legitimate deck now, because Bone Lord bringing out Cagehead for 0. You play Cagehead into like Death Growls on minions, or you can Yodel it. Honestly, I'll just say the Yodeler combo because it's way more fun. But if you Cagehead for 0, Yodeler bring out 2 9/9s, attack with the 9/9s, and then have a Dead Air, you get 2 more 9/9s because of the original 9/9s that died, and then you get another one from the cage head being brought back. And if you even have, you know, like a plague strike or something to hit the cage head after you do that, then that is, I think, 6 blight boars that you just summoned for 9 damage. So yeah, it's a lot of damage. This deck is really fun, and even when you're not playing for the combo, you're just playing as a regular unholy DK without Menagerie. You know, you still have the early game with the Necromancer. You still have like Vizier scams. Personally, I am not sold on Construct Quarter, but I really can't think of a better card right now. In my list, I had a Blood Mage and a a Blood Mage and an Astalor in place of Construct Quarter. And I think I like Astalor a little bit more than Construct Quarter. But it makes sense to run this card so that way you can immediately knock out the Bone Lord or you can immediately knock out the Cage Head. So I think Funky Monkey's list might be better than mine in all honesty. But I just look at Construct Quarter and I raise an eyebrow because this card just seems so bad to me nowadays. But it makes sense in this particular archetype for sure. This is my deck that I feel like some people are going to start taking advantage of here in a second. But all I really did was just play normal Frost DK and add a couple new cards. The Lady Death Whisper into Yelling Yodeler has a really powerful synergy to where if you have 1 Horn of Winter and 1 Frostworm Fury by turn 7, turn 8, then you can play Yodeler with the Lady Death Whisper. If you have 1 Horn, it becomes 4, and if you have 1 Frostworm Fury, it also becomes 4 because it doubles the double. And this is just like a new way to maybe play the deck to where you can either go for gigantic egg value with the Yodeler, or you can go for the high roll and just play Frostworm Fury, Frostworm Fury, Frostworm Fury, back to back to back to back to back to back. And yeah, this is just the most toxic thing that I think I could come up with Frost DK. And you could even like go so far to run like the Sword and Glacial Advance, so you can just summon a bunch of Glacial Advances to face. But then you're dependent on this high roll, so I wanted to make a deck that wasn't just dependent on the high roll. Big Boy Paladin, this is the worst deck that I've ever made. This is just a really bad deck, and I actually have a Control Paladin deck that I will be playing today over at twitch.tv/ClarkHellScream, so make sure you check out the Twitch channel. But regardless, I think that Big Paladin it doesn't have what it needs in order to survive this metagame, but there is a Kangor Dancing Paladin that seems to be performing well that hopefully I'll be able to talk about in a future video. But those are the decks that I had the most amount of success with on my day 1 of the mini set, and I have to say, this mini set has been the most impactful that I've ever seen a mini set in Hearthstone's history, and I think it mostly has to do with the fact that we're messing with dual class cards. So it's like they're throwing these cards into the mix, and there's like 2 chances of it being like meta relevant, right? Where it has, you know, 2 different archetypes or 2 different classes that it hopefully can synergize with, and we're seeing a lot of people experimenting with a lot of really interesting ideas, and I think that maybe like the next week or so, we might have a new meta, but I don't believe that's going to stop Enrage Warrior from being absolutely bonkers, because you can still do stuff like this. This was like one of the most recent games that I played last night trying to get the 11-star bonus, although I will say it didn't happen, and it wasn't because I was playing Enrage Warrior. I was actually testing some other archetypes, and unfortunately I kept getting scammed by a lot of Control Priests and Pure Paladin. Oh my god, I really hope Pure Paladin doesn't become the front runner of the meta, but that deck looks very concerning. But yeah, 38 damage by turn 8, and I'm just a really big fan of what this deck can accomplish, and I just really hope that Enrage Warrior is tier 1. And this is my best take on it, so hopefully you guys have some success as well. And don't forget, if you do enjoy this kind of comment, feel free to like this video and subscribe to the YouTube channel to be notified about any of our future updates. If you have any questions about this deck, feel free to let me know down in the comments below, because I feel like it would be a lot easier for me to communicate that information with you guys just by replying in the comments. So if you have any questions about this deck, feel free to let me know. Thank you for making it to the end of this deck intro. We'll see you for the next video. Alright. Do you know what the problem if my client is initializing the patch download since after 4 hours ago? And then if that doesn't help, then restart your computer. I want to say that you don't have to like re-download everything, but I'm not the person to ask this question, unfortunately. That's about the extent of my knowledge. Wait a minute, Totem Chamois? I could go ahead and like play this and try to get value out of it, but this isn't really the hand I need the value out of, so I gotta make sure that I just stop him from developing onto the board. I realize I'm roping, but this is an important decision to make here. I think it's just probably always this, though, because I can immediately start buffing it. He'll attack into it. Did I not see Jam Sesh? Yes, we have Jam Session in this deck. If you have seen the deck that I play with Blazing Power, it is that deck, and I quite literally just subbed out the Blazing Powers for the, Oh, wow, what the Wait, this is fine. Actually fine, by the way. So now I buff it. You're allowed to smack it again, buddy. Feel free. I can coin out Bridge Riff if need be, but I think I want to save coin for like a potential Pyro play, right? Whoa, what? Oh, right. Transform this into a friendly copy? So Thori into trade here, trade here. If it hits egg, I might coin it out, but actually no. This is probably going to die 100% now, so I can literally go like egg into this into treasure guard, coin, play egg. Hit the egg. I guess I should buff this up with the pyro instead of buffing up this. That's a GG. Yeah, Totem Shaman still feels weak. Absolutely feels weak, dude. Lurks silently while raiding in WoW. Dude, good luck on your WoW raid. But there are more powerful tools that are available that swing the game more. Roaring Applause was just like, it had one way of being played. You just drew as many cards as you could with it, and sometimes it just wasn't good enough. There are other cards that have bigger swings. There are more fire cards that we have for the synergies that we want for that. And, yeah, Roaring Applause is just weird. The Treasure Guard, I would argue, is way more important than Roaring Applause because you need taunts, you know? The turn 3 play is super crucial, and also it's a minion that can get buffed off of Chorus Riff. When you make a 1-5 into a 4-8, that's just valuable. That's the main reason why it's in the deck, is because it's a minion, it's a taunt, and we need defensive options. Roaring Applause is card draw. Treasure Guard is in the deck not because it's card draw, it's because it's a taunt. But it also is a card draw tool, so that's an extra bonus.
They will never catch me.
You know what I mean? Okay, so I can Chorus Riff, play the Fire Chicken, bop bop. Fire Chicken me, dude. Yeah, we'll just do this. See what I mean? Literally see what I mean, dude? Making the 1-5 into a 4-8. It's like the deck knows, and it needed to help out. Okay, so here's an idea. Wait, to all other minions? Oh, so I don't damage this. Yeah, just go ahead and get this out in the field. He could smack me for 4, but I'm not really worried about that. Okay, it's fine. So I could Treasure Guard into Jam Session. That's just super broken, dude. Boop and a boop. This becomes... Oh my god, how big is this about to be? A 7? Oh my god, it's a 7-11 minion, bro. Anybody want to make a 7-11 stop real quick? Because, well, actually, no. It's always this because it brings back Fire Chicken. It literally brings back the Fire Chicken, dude. Oh my god, this card is so good. It's so good, dude. Oh my lord. Look at that swing! It's more of like an old, it's more old school, like last expansion. Wait, how is it old school? Kind of confused by that comment. How is it old school? And now I can Jam Session again. Oh my god. Trade here, Jam Session, remove everything. Trade here, play weapon, end game, GG. Or now I can do it this way instead. Jam Session, so good, dude. This is like actually the best deck of the game now, dude, like unironically. Holy god, this is just so good. This card is almost probably gonna certainly get nerfed at some point. Jam Session. Like, look at this! The 1-5 minion! Some people look at this in the deck and they laugh. I'll laugh with your ranks to the bank, dude. My god. I maybe have 1,700 wins with Enrage Warrior since late January in the playstyle. I used then fits into the Rift deck. When I say old school, I just mean before Festival. Got you. Because like old school Enrage Warrior was like Worgen and whatnot, you know? Raging Worgen. Now that's a blast from the past. Dude, absolutely like this deck is just slaughtering. Yeah, I think his list is just better than mine. Astrolord really doesn't make a lot of sense. Alright, Doctor Intro time. Damn right, dude. I'm surprised that he just doesn't call himself like the deck doctor. Trust me, I'm a doctor. It's the streamer Pizza? Oh wait, oh shit, we're going up against Pizza. Oh, and he's playing Menagerie. He's playing the Menagerie. Whoa. You know? This is exactly why we run this card. Get that off the field. I am not letting you discover an amalgam. Or I'm not letting you amalgam discover into an easy one amalgam band. No thank you. And honestly, this isn't even really that bad. Okay, so I can do this, trade here. That treasure guard. Hold on a minute. Is it just treasure guard instead? I can embarrass him in front of his entire chat now. Give him the smack. There's just a lot of different decks that are playable, but I wonder how long it'll last. Also damages adjacent minions. Don't think I cared too much about that. That's why I'm not impressed with this weapon, dude. You need Weaponsmith, and even then, it's just not as good as you'd want it to be. Okay. Alrighty. Oh, okay. I got an email from Blizzard, but it's just an ad. Find your next melody in the musical set mini set. I need to unsubscribe from that. I don't need those emails.
The Queen's trove is forbidden.
Just make this a little bit more threatening, so if he trades minions into it, it at least comes at a price. Okay, drawing the Grom immediately after getting Remornia was so bad. That was like negative tempo. But I don't got weapon. Oh no. Oh no. This is the turn before my Remornia. Okay, jam session. Can't play that. Oh, wait a minute. I guess I can. Or maybe it's this way. Actually, no, it's this way. So we do this. Trade. Bring it back. Trade again. Now I've got Remornia online. And I can even damage it to make it a 10 attack weapon. And that'll just win this game, right? Yeah, going all in? Yeah. Okay, we're definitely winning this game. Actually, I don't even think I buff it, right?
You like to play with fire?
I will not be denied.
Get rid of the mechs so that way no magnetized cards can get in the way. Alright, here we go, dude. This is why this card is just insane. And this is also the reason why I didn't want to cut Pyro. You know? Like, this is just still a good play. So this attack here. I have 8, 15. Trades into here. 8, 15. Plus 8. Yeah, this is GG.
Your blood for the sire. Into make them bleed.
Can't wait for the warrior nerf, man. Holy shit, I'm so tired of this deck, bro. You can't nerf this deck. You can't nerf the deck. You just can't nerf it. The moment warrior gets a good deck, you want to nerf it? No, not allowed. Illegal. I refuse.